everybody. I'm going to be calm.
Oh, sorry.
Happy New... Okay, it's starting off great. Happy New Year, everybody. Except it's January 10th when you're watching this.
Yes.
But it's our first chance to wish you all Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Fleece and Harmony gang. And this is our knitting and crochet. And no spinning this time.
Nope. But we do have a new thing.
Yep, cross stitch. Somebody's been working on cross stitch and whatever, Woolcast. Yes, wool and thread cast. Yeah, exactly. So we're recording this on January, what day is it? 7th? Yep. In Belfast, Prince Edward Island, and we're in our yarn shop that's in the woolen mill on the sheep farm in Belfast, PEI. I mixed it up.
Betsy so happy.
Yes. You feel grounded, Betsy?
Yes. It just lets me know every 2 weeks exactly where I am.
Yes, exactly. Live in the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So today, so first of all, I never do this, but I think that as a podcaster or YouTuber or whatever, I should be welcoming people. If you're new, you already know that we're crazy, obviously. So that's it. We're unfocused and whatever. We go everywhere. If you're returning, thank you so much for watching us and continuing. There's a lot of people that have been watching from the very, very beginning. So we really appreciate that you're watching us. So this is we used to call this the knitting podcast, but now in fact we do knitting and crochet. We're kind of multi-crafters, all of us. Yep. So you never know what you're going to see. So Happy New Year to everybody, and let's hope 2025 is a great year.
Yes. It will be.
Yeah.
We're going for it.
Yeah, we're going to go. You have to make it great.
Yes.
For yourself. I think that's, exactly. Yeah. So today was a beautiful snowy morning, and so that will be the harmony part. At the in the introduction, it's one of those big fat flake days.
Love it.
I know, gently falling. No wind because we had a big windstorm. Yeah. The house was shaking. Yeah. Yours too?
Yes, I have learned to mentally turn it off.
Yeah.
Because when we first moved here, it used to really truly raise my anxiety levels.
Yes.
So I actually had a full-on little session with myself, and I was like, if you are going to live here and enjoy this, you have got to let this go.
Yeah.
So it did, but it doesn't bother me anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So Ken actually puts earplugs in now.
Oh, okay.
Ever since Fiona.
Okay.
So after the hurricane, because we were in the wood tent and it was actually shaking during the Fiona, you probably have... Well, no, Dorian was
the big one for us.
Yeah. So hurricanes and I'm okay, but it does bother. You kind of toss and turn a bit before you fall asleep, and then but Ken actually puts earplugs because it's really it was something anyway. So that's not what happened today. So today it was beautiful, gently falling, picture postcard kind of day. So Ken went around and took a little bit of video, and now I'll just have to try to find the music that gives the right mood for that. So we are going to kind of be all over the place because we're all just kind of regrouping and getting back after the holidays, and we hope everybody had a great holidays, whatever holidays you're celebrating or your time off if you're not celebrating any holidays. And so we're back into the swing of things. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a recap of the blanket, because I'm getting all kinds of emails about the blanket blocks. So for those that don't know, in 2024, Simone and Betsy came up with an idea to do a blanket block a month each. So there's 2 blocks every month. So many people have downloaded it. It's crazy. Literally, I think we're at 1,600 downloads for the first block. So, and then all of the 12 blocks have been, and the assembly thing have been downloaded. So the blanket block patterns are free until January 31st. After January 31st, there will be a PDF available for sale, which has all of the blanket blocks in one document, because each one has to be downloaded individually at this point, the free ones. And Betsy and Simone have worked together to make a PDF. That will go on sale for $20 Canadian. However, if you buy, I get a lot of requests about, can I buy a kit? There's no kit because it's all regular items, and the blocks for each month actually take a full skein of each of the colors, because you're doing 2 blocks. So everything is listed in, if you just search blanket 2024 or blanket on our website, then you'll get a description of everything, all of the colors that are in it, and you have to buy 24 skeins of yarn to, is it 20?
Yes.
26 because of the edging.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's 26 skeins of Selkirk worsted. If you buy all 26 colors or 26 skeins of Selkirk worsted to make your own color combination, then we'll send you the PDF for free. So you don't need to pay for the PDF, obviously, because you're buying all of those. That's the least we can do. However, if you do buy the PDF, then all of the proceeds are going to go to Betsy and Simone, because they did all the work. I had nothing to do with it. Nothing. I didn't knit. I didn't even know what the blocks were, and so that's the deal.
It's cute too, because we had this, we have a folder in Drive that's accessible to all of us, and Betsy and I would put our monthly blocks in, and Kim would never peek.
Yeah,
she didn't want to know what it was before,
which is so unlike
we released it.
That's crazy.
I love that you're so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I am. I'm really proud of myself, because it's so unlike me not to go in and peek. So I think the only one that I looked at was December. I think that was the only one that I knew beforehand.
Yeah, I think it's because we were trying to pick up the pace to make sure we had everything ready for you guys.
Yeah.
Can I just say a quick, hopefully
Absolutely.
it's to just help, if you want to do your own colors, to make it sort of a simple, straightforward, you need 6 colors dark, 6 colors light, because you put a dark and a light in each of the blocks. So 6 of each. And then 2 skeins of each of those colors is your 24, and then 2 for your border.
If you want to do a knitted border, as Betsy did on the edging. Yeah. Some people are doing an I-cord border.
Oh, perfect.
So the one question I would have asked is, how much yarn is left over after you do the blocks?
You do have some left over. Yeah. You will be able to make something fun and stripy or interesting.
Amigurumi.
Amigurumi. I don't know. There's lots of scrappy project ideas out there.
So could you make one of those magic balls or super balls or whatever, where you just splice all of the pieces together and then do an I-cord edging? Would you have enough for that? Or
yes.
Yes. Okay.
You would.
So you would have enough for that. And some people have, there's a really active thread in Ravelry that Simone's been curating. So you can go in there and look at all the comments and everything. And there are a couple people that actually did an I-cord edge instead of doing the knitted edge. Yeah. So, if you will make it the pattern free if you buy 24 skeins. Sure. So if you buy 26, you still get the pattern free. But if you don't want to buy the extra 2 and do a wider edge, then you should have enough then.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're going to say, because we're going to get questions about it, because there's actually quite a few people that have started knitting it.
Just because you said that, I also just want to clarify, if you use the leftovers, you will have a multicolored border.
Yes,
you do not have enough leftover of any one single color to complete the entire round of the blanket. So it would be a multicolored border with your leftovers. Right. Okay.
So, and I should say, for people that don't know, what is it called? Magic ball or super ball or whatever?
Magic ball?
Magic ball, I think. So all that is that you take all your scraps and you splice them together and you make one giant ball of multicolors. So it's like a variegated ball, but it's kind of, you just keep going and you get what you get. Yeah. But it's multicolor, but all the colors that are in the blanket, obviously. Yes. So that's it. So, and we really encourage you that if you like the blanket and you like the motifs, I know that there's people that are making it out of just 2 colors.
Yeah.
So they're using a dark and a light, or there's people that are doing their own color scheme.
Yeah.
So feel free to use your imagination and do whatever floats your boat for that. So, okay. All right. So that's, hopefully that's, and we will not make kits.
No.
So that's it, because it's just regular stock anyway. And kits are just we're not going to manage kits basically. So you just have to order the things and you'll get the pattern for free. Okay. So just to be clear, the free downloads ends on January 31st. I just want to make sure that everybody's well aware of that.
I've also updated the pattern in Ravelry, the pattern page, so that people know that it ends on January 31st.
Right.
At the very bottom of the descriptions.
Yeah.
And the page that we have in the Ravelry group, that also contains all the information. So the blocks by month, the colors we chose, and that it ends January 31st for the free download.
Yeah.
Wait, I was knitting. Did you say January 31st?
January 31st.
January 31st. That's how I watch podcasts. I'll be like, wait, what?
Yeah. Betsy keeps us informed of a lot of knitting podcasts and other podcasts as well. So when we want to know what's happening out there,
we ask Betsy.
we ask Betsy, what's going on?
You guys keep me company while I'm also doing my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great. Okay, so I just want to make a little, I don't know why, on the feeds that I've been following lately, there's this big discussion about Chiago needles and what are the best needles to use. And there was one interesting thread that I saw yesterday that was talking about Chiago cords breaking.
Oh.
Yeah, or that they don't like the Chiago cords.
I love the Chiago cords.
I know. I was really surprised because it was like
cord breaking.
Yeah, so I was really surprised. So I'm not going to say we carry mainly Chiago needles because we love them. So I'm not going to say that they never break, but they do have a very they will replace Chiago will replace them. However, I don't like the spinning cords, either the nylon ones that are the kind of the spin which go with the bamboo needles, or the new swivel 360s, which are metal covered with nylon, like the red ones, except they spin.
Okay.
So I think that that's what people are getting confused about, is that in order to make a spinning cable, inherently the attachment has to be a little bit bigger because you need a ball in there to be on the end of the metal cord to make it spin. So if you're doing a lot of really fine knitting, then you may not like the spinning cords.
Your stitches sliding over that
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
Because the red cords or the blue cords that don't spin are super smooth. So even with the finest, in my experience anyway, even with the finest lace weight yarns, I've never had a problem. However, there's one exception to that, is that people that there are people that, I mean, there's 1,000 different ways to knit and hold your needles and whatever. And it seems that people that are, especially knit in a tight gauge, they seem to be the ones that may find that they need a spinning thing. So I just want to, because there was a whole big thing. I mean, there was hundreds of replies to this thread, and I just wanted to clarify what they might be talking about. So I used 5 or 6 brands of needles, and I've settled on Chiago. You've probably used more because you've been the longest knitter.
I bought in from day one.
Yeah.
I was like, it was one of those things where it's like, I could buy all of these bits and pieces and try them, or I could just trust. And I think at that time it was Andrea from Fruity Knitting. I was like, I'll just trust what she, I think something about, or was it you someone in your life had to earn the right to the good needles?
Oh, it was Ken.
Was it Ken?
It was Ken.
No, Andrew. I think it was Andrew.
And Andrew as well.
It was Andrew as well.
So I was like, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we just had a customer. So Chiagu needles. So that's, I think we were just.
I had one thought.
Yeah.
You had mentioned about the cords potentially breaking.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about the construction of them. Internally, I think it's several fibers wound together.
Yeah.
So like an electric cord, maybe if you're storing them too tightly scrunched, or if at any point you were to bend it, like to actually put a kinked bend in it, that would probably do it.
So I think there are a few people that were on that thread as well that said that the red ones have broken.
Okay.
But even if you go on the Chiagu website, or they've done a couple of posts and everything about if you're trying to do a really tight circumference with a needle that's too long or short or whatever, and you're bending the needles at a hard angle. I can't say that I've never done that, but I don't normally do that.
I've broken one Chiagu cable.
Yeah.
That was it. And it was one of the minis. It was really tiny. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I was just too lazy to get the double point out and pushed it a little too far.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you do that over time, then you're doing the stress, you're making a stress on the needle. And Chiago, even on they do these little tutorials about the needles, and they say right on it, try not to have the cords on such an angle
that you're putting like a little kink in the hose.
Exactly. Over time, it could make a weak spot. But other than that, so anyway, we carry the 5-inch tips. I have all the cords. We've got the double points, and we've got all the sizes in the 9, the 12, and the 16-inch short circulars as well. So if you need any Chiago needles, then we've got you covered. I even have 2 sets of the Forte needles left if you really want to go whole hog.
And correct me if I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've heard you say they stand by their product.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So
next on the agenda is you started the Tessellation Nation, I think.
Started, we'll call a loose term.
Okay.
So the first email arrived today.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I was like, I better get all filled in before we record today. And then I realized, this is going to actually require some time. So I opened the emails, I read the welcome, and I am anticipating going home and watching the welcome videos. Yeah. So the main thing I got was, whoa, don't buy your yarn just yet.
Okay.
So even though I came in and immediately wanted to look at all of the colors, I need to work through the process.
Right. Yeah. So we're talking about the Mercerie with Sue Matton, who, if you're a regular watcher, you know that we've done the Wallflowers, Betsy and I, and I got a little heads up on the Homage to the Granny Square because I'm going to do that, and I think the idea was that I was going to actually start it. So have I started it?
Sue wanted to give you all the time you needed.
Yes, exactly.
She says that for all of the projects. There is no timeline in which these have to be completed.
So Wallflowers, if you've seen my Wallflowers or Betsy's Wallflower, because I showed a picture of yours in the last episode, I think, and you want to join that, you can join it. I actually have an affiliate link, so that would be down in the description of the podcast, or you can find it there. And I did put a QR code here somewhere, so if you're QR code savvy, which I've never been until just a couple weeks ago, so you use them all the time.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I know.
She creates them.
I know. I created one too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
You both just went up in my estimation.
It's a fun one because there's a little image in it and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
There's an app for that, Betsy.
Oh.
Yeah. The mystery, it's kind of like a little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It was even I could do it. So if you want, so what's happening is Tessellation Nation has just started this week.
Yes.
And that is like a tour de force of crochet, creativity and color choosing and whatever. Betsy's been a long time crocheter, so she's doing that. And Sue does suggest that you don't make the Tessellation Nation your first project. Okay. There's also, Sue has Homage to the Granny Square, which is actually a beginner class. And then I would say the next level is Wallflowers. So that's the next one. But what they all have in common, and I think you can build your skills. You should be talking about it because you're really more the crocheters. But Sue's big strength is the creativity of the color choices, I think.
Yes, absolutely. But I would also say the great thing about taking her course, so not only is she very well informed and naturally talented with color choice, she's also extremely organized and very detail oriented. So her videos and her actual like teaching part of it is so worth taking her class. You really feel like you are in a university level textile course when you take her courses.
She actually has a degree in textile. But she's very approachable.
Very much.
I mean, it's really like she's she makes everything, even the complicated parts. She walks you through it.
And that's I think what I'm trying to get at is that it's very detailed and comprehensive, but not in a like academic out there way. The videos, she has both right-handed and left-handed, so you can watch to see, and like single crochet stitch, which is your very beginning foundational stitch, that's taught in every single one of the courses. So she doesn't take anything that you have any knowledge for granted. In my quick reading this morning, she even said, had links to, if you're just learning to crochet or you need a refresh on crochet stitches, follow this link and there's videos to getting those refreshed. The only little catch I would say is because she's from the UK, she uses the UK crochet terms. A lot of our viewers are from the US, so you may use the American crochet terms. It is not difficult
to be bilingual.
Figure out. Exactly. The stitch itself does not change. The structure of the stitches are the same. They're just called slightly different names. So the actual crocheting, it's universal.
Exactly. And then you have this magnificent work of art at the end of it, basically. That's So anyway, so you can check that out. And then I've said this before, is that when you say about her attention to detail and everything, it's like even the music behind the videos and the introductions, and you're just really, if color brings you joy, then it's just going to amp up your appreciation of color. So And Sue does use quite a lot of Rowan felted tweed. So that's how this whole thing started with Sue and I, is because she uses felted tweed, and I have every color of felted tweed in quantities. So if you need your felted tweed, then you can shop with us. We'll have every color. Okay, so that's that. So now I think we need to get to our projects, but we should say what we're wearing. Okay, before we start our projects. So who wants to go first?
Sure. So I have the Patti wrap, which came out of a Rowan magazine. I think that was an Alpaca focus. I forget what it was actually. The magazine was
the
called.
Alpaca collection, I think.
There you go. Alpaca collection, the Patti wrap.
And it's made in Alpaca Classic. The Rowan Alpaca Classic. And I'm wearing Tungsten, which is made in felted tweed, and the designer is who did I say? Chloe Thurlow. Yes, exactly. Chloe Thurlow. And Simone has her Frivolous Christmas cast on.
This is the Plumped Up Cowl by Andrea Mowry.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's done in hand spun, right?
Hand spun, and actually I used Mode's chunky wool.
Oh, okay. So this is for people that don't know, that it may be a Rowan purchasers that don't know about the new Mode yarns. So we carry all of the new. They came out with a line that's, I think it's a little bit more budget conscious. Like rather than using merino, they use Highland Peruvian wool and things like that. So, and there's a lot of alpaca in the selection of Mode, so you can check that out. We have all of the colors and all of the line that they made. So it's nice, and they've got chunky all the way down to fairly fine.
They don't right beside me. I'll look.
It's a fine. It's it's alpaca based sort of kid silk haze. It just doesn't have the silk in it. and they use alpaca instead of mohair, but it's that fine. That goes all the way from that to the
Big chunky
chunkier
stuff.
Yeah. So it still has that bit of
fuzz,
but it's not as much like
it's not as
stringy,
not
or
as silky.
hairy.
Yeah, it's not as silky.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So what have we been working on? I'm gonna go last because I got a big story.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. Why don't you go ahead, Simone? Because we started talking
we
about
kinda
your
started
cowl
talking
anyway.
about this. Yeah. So this was going to be my Frivolous Christmas Eve cast on. So anybody that was watching podcast from last year will have heard me mention it.
Yeah.
And it was really fun because I decided that I was going to spin for it.
Right.
I had some really nice bats by Sue Smith, the Paisley Defender. She was at the Fiber Festival this year. And I have to say, I'm kind of addicted to her fibers.
Yeah, she's
They're
coming
really,
to the
really
Fiber
fun.
Festival next year. This
That's
year,
awesome.
2025. Yeah, she's already in there.
So I actually spun up 4 different bats. I only used the 3 of them for the kind of contrast color or main color, I guess, on this side, because it's actually kind of reversible.
Oh,
Yeah, totally
okay.
reversible.
Yeah.
And then I used the Mode Chunky for the other color because it was pretty much bang on the specs for the yarn that Andrea and Mowry called for in the pattern.
Oh, great. Okay.
So yeah, it was just kind of an easy peasy no brainer.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfect because your hand spun has so much going on.
Yeah.
To pair it with the solid was a
Yeah.
really smart idea.
Yeah, because then it highlights all of
Exactly.
the beauty of the
Yeah. So this was a fun little adventure in the spinning as well because I spun chunky yarn and I'm not typically a chunky yarn spinner.
No.
So I actually I had my kiwi out and I had to like slow my feet and my hands down and purposely like tell myself to stay slow.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Kirby and then I'd get faster, like, nope, gotta slow.
And it probably goes fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
So I did 100 grams in an evening.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not even working hard.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
clearly the knitting of it goes fast too.
It
Because I
does.
had talked with Simone about potentially doing this as well, just holding a few things together. That's a different story in itself. But you had told me, well, it is brioche. So brioche is a little slower because it's like 2 rows per one. I haven't done it yet, so I don't actually know. But clearly it's not that like with chunky yarn. It still went
it was
quick.
still really fast.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it off, and that way you can see the other side too. There's a neat little I-cord edging around it, and actually in the back too. Sorry. So the back has that detail as well. So where you join it, it's a cute little I-cord, and it's just match stitched in place. But the inside or reverse is also really cute. So in my opinion, it's totally reversible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you can go with, more pop or something a little bit more subtle.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Because I remember, I think we have a picture of the skeins that you had, so I'll try to pop it in here.
Yeah.
So they were different colors.
They were.
But how come it looks like you see all the different pops?
Yep.
But how did you use one skein, then move to the next skein and that?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's knit on the bias.
Okay.
And I treated it kind of like a fade.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Because you would never know that was three distinct.
Like if I look here, I can see that was her bluey green one.
Yeah.
And then if I look here, I can see it was the more purple. So I can find them.
Yeah.
But they're certainly, they move beautifully together. I can see here, we're hogging it.
Yeah.
I can see the fade look down
Maybe
the
what we
front
need
there.
to do is do this so that you can see the biggest part of it. Yeah. Does that show it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It moves kind
Sorry,
of
I just took
this
over
way.
your project here. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
The brioche is so squishy and warm.
It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
And this, I think this is very interesting because this was the one that had the hemp in it, right?
I think there was hemp or flax in
Flax
it.
in it.
There was
And you might have, if you saw the last podcast, I was handling it and I was like, oh, it's a little bit flaxy. Like that's but it's really soft.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
So
I
it's
had
a
thought
fun
I'd set
project.
this product aside, but maybe not.
Yeah. So Andrea Mowry tends to like this construction, I
Loves
think.
that
Eh?
construction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it because it's very wearable.
Yes.
Yes.
I love shawl type things, but
Yeah.
this, you don't have to worry about them like falling off or coming
No.
undone.
Yeah, it's
You just
just
kinda
really,
like
really
that.
nice.
Tuck it into place, and
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah, I don't have to worry too much about how to style it
Yeah.
because I have no style.
That's not true.
No, that's not true.
Definitely not true.
So yeah, it was a really fun project. I'm so glad that I did it in hand spun,
Yeah.
and the mode, because it was easy and it was fast, and I didn't really have to think about it.
You did say though that you need to be aware that when you're knitting with thicker yarns, if you're used to doing fine yarns, is that you do it feels different in your
It
hand.
totally
eh?
feels different. I think
Yeah.
I have wool on my face. Sorry.
Yeah.
It definitely feels different, and when you're a person that usually doesn't use much larger than a 4mm,
Yeah.
3.25mm needle,
Yeah.
it feels like you're knitting with broomsticks.
Yeah.
But
But
it
for
is
the
fast.
chunky knitters, they're gonna love it.
They're gonna
So
love
that's
it.
what, yeah. So I found that too with my thick and quick mittens that I made for
Yes.
Christmas. I actually got 2 pairs done and were able to give them as Christmas
Oh,
gifts.
wow.
Yeah, so they're not here. But you have some.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ken already made fun of me for
Why?
Oh.
I ran out of yarn. So
Instead of a trigger finger, they're a trigger thumb.
This is
So I have
nice
the blue.
too. Yeah.
and
Gorgeous.
then brown with gray thumbs.
So this is your you're putting this in your bag. You have a bag that everybody just dips into.
Yeah.
They're all the same size. They're So and these are made of Lopi.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
So
and
I
hardy.
think these are screaming Judah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although he wants orange ones.
Oh,
okay, fine.
yes, he's an orange
Well,
guy.
yes,
Isn't
he
he?
is.
Oh, I
Yes,
was
he
thinking
likes
it
it.
used to hang behind us. I was going to pull the perfect color
There is
out.
orange over there. I think we call it turmeric.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
So
it's
And
nice.
What's that one? Is that, did you hold some stuff together?
No,
Or no?
it was just stuff
That's
I
what
had
we
in
had.
That's
Yeah.
stash. Yeah, it's
Those
nice.
really are
Yeah, they're nice.
fabulous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
They fit
I
all
had
over
to go-
hands really well. So.
Yeah, I had to go up a size in the needle. So the first pair, I used your specs on your pattern. So this is a pattern that Simone designed, and we were starting to call them the magic mittens because they seem to fit everybody, unless you've got really small hands.
Yeah.
So Simone knits a fairly loose gauge naturally, I would say,
Yeah.
compared to me and compared to you, I
Yeah.
think. So I on my second pair I went up a needle size and it came out like perfect, like to your specs. So
Yeah, nice.
you know, I mean we've talked about this almost every episode. You need to move your needle size to get the gauge that you're comfortable knitting at, rather than trying to get to a gauge in the same needle if that's not where you knit.
I always take it that a suggested needle size in the pattern is a starting suggestion.
Yes,
If
yes.
you really are completely lost, you've never used the yarn before, you're not familiar with it and your gauge, it's a great starting point.
Yeah.
But don't hold yourself to it.
That's
Let it be fluid.
yes. In
And I'm
fact,
going to go ahead and say this: knit a gauge swatch.
well, my first mitten I said was a gauge swatch, so I know that's okay. But it's interesting that you say that, Betsy, because in Kate Davies' books, she talks about gauge, but she always says start with
Okay.
4mm or start with
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
3.75 mil. So that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what she says right in her patterns, at least the one that I've
And the
done, so.
more you knit and you become familiar with your own gauge and a variety of yarns, the more of an educated guess you will
Yes.
have for starting.
Yes.
So it won't be completely out there because you'll know if you've knit with sock weight before roughly what you need to use.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
Okay, so and you have another one.
I do.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until I was here that I'm midway through the row, of course. I am using more stash yarn. It's Platulopi, so it's unspun.
Yeah.
And while it's in the little plate form, it's still very delicate. So I do have to kind of be careful that I don't yank on it. But this is the Moorland shawl by
You'll
Tanya
take a picture.
Yeah.
I guess, right? Because
So I'll
but
hang it
this
up.
is
There we go. So this is kind of the center.
oh, okay. This is the way that it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a real deal shawl.
Yeah.
And it's got these neat little spines and then textured stitches at the bottom. These were really, really fun. So the little leaf stitches, and then of course baubles. And Betsy and I had a chat about baubles this morning.
I've never done a bauble.
I love crochet baubles.
Crochet baubles.
Crochet baubles.
Not knit baubles, crochet
Knit
baubles.
baubles are always a little, insipid.
Oh,
But
she said.
these are fat, perfect, round little baubles, and I love them. So knit baubles
So
versus
just
crochet baubles.
quickly, how do you make them? You just keep wrapping the yarn around?
Yeah, it's a wrap and pull, but not.
Yeah, it's like drop a loop
finish the
and then
stitch.
around the I was gonna say needle hook. Drop a loop, and this one is 5, so you need 5 loops on your hook, and then
Your needle.
Nope.
your hook, because you're actually doing it with a crochet
With a
hook.
crochet.
Oh,
hook.
even though it's knitting, you're
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
a crochet hook.
So
okay. So
the
now it
leaves are
kind of
the
makes
same
more sense.
thing.
Okay.
So they're done with a crochet hook as well, and then knit into place.
Oh,
So it's
lovely marriage
so
of the
much
two
fun.
Now,
disciplines.
can I ask though, does the pattern, does she explain how to do it? So if you
Yes.
don't actually know how to crochet, she'll still tell you how
Yeah.
to just use a crochet hook.
Yeah, she
Okay.
explains it, and then she also gives YouTube links,
Oh, nice.
which is nice.
Excellent.
Because I did have to look up the leaf stitches, so these ones here. But once I did one, I was like, oh, I got this. This is so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
So it's a great project.
Yeah.
I really love it. And it's going to be a very warm.
I was
cozy
going to
shawl.
say my hand is getting warmer as we're just sitting
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lots of air in there to catch the warm
Yeah.
air. Yeah.
I have one other unspun shawl at home. I made it out of Briggs & Little Country Roving.
Okay.
And it's always the one that I grab when I'm cold.
Yeah.
I usually keep it on the back of my knitting chair because it's like the back of my neck
Yeah.
gets cold, so I just throw it on, and it's my cozy around the house thing.
So I'm curious. I have knit
Oh, yeah.
before
Mhm.
with a very loosely spun yarn, and somehow I think I discovered that I twist the yarn in a way that I actually was untwisting it, so it would just let go on me. But you're saying unspun, so
Yes.
there is no twist in this
None.
anyway. So
No.
it shouldn't matter whether I maneuver the yarn one way or the other, right?
No, you just
Okay.
need to be kind of careful whenever you're pulling it out of the center. Because if you pull on it, it'll break. You can spit splice it back in place, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, you do have to be a little bit precious with it just while you're knitting. But that's fine because it means that you slow down and really enjoy the process.
Well, I'm thinking this is probably not a yarn that is for me.
No,
But
it's Icelandic wool.
well, my husband really loves the rustic stuff, and he would probably enjoy a blanket. Just not huge, just over the lap,
Yeah.
just to take the chill off.
Yeah, because it is very warm.
So I forget, do you knit right-handed or left-handed?
I knit right-handed, but I'm wondering if I maneuver my yarn a little bit in a left-handed way. I've never sat down to super analyze it, but I know there was a particular yarn that I went to try to use, and I was literally unspinning it as I knit.
Right.
And so then every 20 stitches, it would just,
Yeah.
come apart. Because
Right.
I had, somehow the way I was turning the yarn was
Right.
taking all of the twist
Right.
out of it.
So when you knit with Selkirk worsted, say, does it get more twisted or does it get less, or you just don't notice because it's got quite a high twist in it anyway? But
I'm not, I'd have to pay, I was watching the other day with another yarn. I'll have to pay close attention to find out. It might be that our worsted has enough twist in it
that it doesn't
that even
affect
though I'm loosening it, it doesn't
Yeah.
come all the way.
Yeah.
That probably explains the difference with our gauge for the blank box.
Okay. Because
Because
are you
I
tightening
am-
yours?
I think I am. And it's just making the stitches kind of plump up more.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder.
because you're loosening them. Yeah, because the way we spin, if you're knitting, if you're knitting like a traditional right-handed, it actually slightly tightens this twist.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're knitting left-handed, it would slightly loosen it.
No, I think it's actually the way I
The
knit,
opposite?
I think it for my my throwing, I think it's actually tightening it slightly, and then my other one, maybe it's even loosening it a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's kind of balancing everything out.
Okay. What do you mean your other one?
Because
your
she
other
works
color.
with
I'm doing
hands.
Two-handed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm going to watch my knitting next time and find
Yeah.
out what's
Ooh,
happening with the
interesting.
yarn.
Because there
Yeah.
are yarns that are spun in the opposite direction as we spin it.
Yeah.
We spin the most common, I would say, but there are yarns that are spun in the other direction.
Mhm.
And then if you're a left-handed knitter or crocheter, you actually tighten those. Though a traditional, well, it's not traditional, but a right-handed crocheter
Yeah.
will loosen.
Okay.
So anyway, it's fascinating.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, and there is a third motif in this. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking these
Yeah.
little leaves, little blossoms.
Yeah, they're so cute. I
Yeah, it's
really
really
like
nice.
them.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun project, and
Yeah.
this was, I guess, technically my Christmas Eve cast on, because I was bad and I cast this on like 2 days early because we had a snowstorm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm home. I'm just gonna knit.
I love that Simone sets her own rules just to break
What's
them.
there's a holiday, there's a thing in Newfoundland. Is it Tibbs Eve? Tibbs Eve? Oh shoot. You'll have to tell me, Newfoundlanders that are watching, because it's the day before Christmas Eve.
Okay.
They start early.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's called Tibbs Eve, which is the eve of Christmas Eve.
Cool.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
That's fun.
great. All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, did we take it off the needles?
Nope.
No. Okay. You
But
wouldn't
yeah,
want to
look at
lose
those-
a bobble.
Perfect round baubles.
Yeah, they
So
are
nice.
They make me
nice.
so happy.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't take much.
Excellent. All right. So I think that's it. So you've got a couple projects on the
I
go.
do. I gave my immediate family members each a sweater for Christmas.
Oh,
the sweater
okay.
was not made yet. So I got them to open yarn
Yeah.
that they may have chose on their own.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I did start a couple of them. I'll talk about the first one. So the first one's for my oldest, who is a massive Harry Potter fan.
Right.
Years ago, not too many years ago, I think it was the first year we arrived
Yeah.
on the island.
I
came
remember
into the
when
shop
you picked it up. Yeah.
and we bought Strawberry Fields.
Yeah.
And I made her, which was her choice, and I made her a Weasley sweater. For
Right.
Harry Potter fans, you'll know
Love
exactly what I'm
it.
talking
Yeah.
about. And I used the Knitting Magic, Harry
Yeah.
Potter Knitting Magic book, which
That's
we
the
do.
first one.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
do sell here.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is her sweater that she has wore and wore. Like, I kid you not. I actually said to her, I was like, kiddo, your teacher is going to be so sick of that sweater. And her response was, I don't care.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
lovely.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So she loves it.
Yeah.
So when I asked, can I make you a sweater? Well, yeah, I want another one.
Okay.
So she's Lucinda, so she has her L, but she loves the Weasleys. I think she actually wishes she was born into the Weasley family. So she wants one with a W on it.
Yeah. I have to say, it's worn very well.
Yeah.
So
Like
well. Is that
yeah.
not like, yeah,
Yeah.
it is gorgeous.
There's no like thin spots
Just
or
lovely.
anything.
No,
I love
she must
self-worsted.
be, my youngest is an elbow rubber.
Okay.
So she has burned elbows out of the sweaters, but she must not do that because her elbows look just fine.
Yeah.
There's one spot on the back that I think is where
Her
her
back.
school chair probably ends.
okay.
And so it's a little bit felted back here. And
Yeah.
I think that's because that's where the school chair
Yeah.
runs. right
Anyway, it's in
across the
really
back.
good shape because
Yep.
this I remember you bought. This is
Yeah.
when we met in person.
Yep.
Because
The
you
first
came
time.
in and bought the. You
Yeah.
weren't even. I don't even think. Did you have your house yet? I
Nope.
don't think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we had been on the island for like 24 hours or
Oh,
something.
okay.
wow.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
head to Fleece and Harmony. We parked the trailer and then went to Fleece and Harmony.
Oh, okay.
That was
Priorities.
priorities.
I remember.
Our priorities.
I remember.
Officially, it was Soapy's in Montague to get some food because we couldn't find the superstore.
Oh, okay.
And then we parked the trailer over at Ocean Acres, and then we came straight to Fleece and
yeah.
Harmony.
Yeah. And I remember you
Bought
picked
that
this
yard,
out,
and I
Yeah.
started knitting on the beach the next day.
And you had purchased some things from so
Online,
Yeah,
yeah.
online. Yeah. So then I remember that day. Yeah.
So anyway, we're starting
Okay.
all those beautiful memories over again. And this time she wants it out of purple.
Okay.
She did choose this yarn on her own. And it's 100% wool. It's not ours.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Time will tell. She might, decide
This
that.
might be a good test.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's going with purple and kind of the W that's going to go on it is, I'm going to compare it most closest to our plover. It's kind of
okay.
in that
Okay.
family,
Yeah.
a goldy brownie.
Yeah.
kind of- yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I've got, this is the back, and this stuff, I'm working on a 4.5. So again, it feels like it's
Broomsticks.
just
Yeah.
flying, but it's also flying, and you'll
Yeah.
see why when I show you the next project.
Okay.
So she's quite happy. I knit swatches like for all of them.
Yeah.
And this one I even knit two because we didn't like the fabric of the first
Oh,
one.
okay.
It was
Excellent.
a little too loose. I think she had me go down a size. She wanted it a little more defined.
Yeah.
She likes the stitch
Yeah.
defined.
Okay. Perfect.
So that's that one. And then this one is with our worsted. And Matthew has a jacket I made for him out of knits men want.
Yes.
And again,
That's right.
he wears it.
Is that the hiking jacket?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, he
All
gets a lot of
the
use out of
time.
that. Yeah.
So this time his request was finer yarn.
Yeah.
We're going to put a little bit of a color motif just across the front, and it's going to be a little more fitted to the body. So
Okay.
it's more of a shirt and less of a jacket.
Oh, okay.
So there's not a lot to show
Okay.
because it's, again, the back that I've started.
This
And
is
we're
spruce.
doing-
This is spruce,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Or it's kind of halfway between spruce and mallard. So it's
Oh,
our
okay.
actual spruce would be a little darker. See, he was like, well, I can choose it all. So custom dye. The yarn is spun a little lighter than usual.
He has an inside connection with the dyer.
might.
That's right.
Yeah.
He might. And the spinners. So
Yeah.
so this is very much a custom piece that's
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
So it's very fine gauge. I'm working on, what is it? Oh boy, I'm going to show my,
So it's tight.
it's the smallest one that comes in the set. Is that 2.25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay.
I might be able to read it.
My doctor's appointment for my eyes is in February.
Here.
I love this.
Is it a 5 or 2.25?
This is awesome.
Oh, this is what I do.
2.75.
2.75.
2.75.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it will be
And the blue is what? Is that November Sky?
take
or
the ferry, actually.
Take the ferry.
Yeah, and that is
Okay.
just straight take the ferry.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
on quite a lighter base we had that day. So
Yeah.
that was it came out quite clear.
And
so
that's
this
gonna
will
be
be
folded over.
It will be.
Yeah.
So I actually just put the take the ferry there because I was like, I might not have dyed enough yarn. So let's do that just so we're not worried. I'm always fretting about enough yarn.
Yeah.
Right up to the last 8 stitches. I
Yeah.
worry about that.
Yeah.
It'll probably be fine.
Okay.
And
As
it's a
a
nice
matter of
little
fact.
detail too to
Yeah.
have
Yes.
that band of color.
Yeah,
So-
so he did tell me it wasn't allowed. So his other one has a peekaboo where the color comes round, but this one he didn't want because very practically he's like, it's too light, it'll get dirty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the darker color is actually on the edge.
So you're not even going to see the blue.
You won't, not
But
here.
it looks really good together.
But this blue will show up we're doing an argyle pattern.
Oh, okay. So
bronze
this
with
is the blue
Yes.
you're going to use for the contrast?
Yes.
Oh,
So that will.
yeah. It's
I
really
have
nice.
a swatch. I will bring it. I forgot to bring it today. Next time I'll bring the actual swatch with the argyle color work on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
Lovely.
I'm really excited.
This feels really
It
nice
will
too.
probably, it is, yeah, I know. He
Yeah.
wanted it a bit more dense
Yeah.
and so this one will take the longest just because I have knit about the same amount of time on them,
Yep.
Yeah.
but the finer stitches.
This is, really nice. Okay.
So,
Excellent.
Yeah. So those are my starts. Oops. And I'm super excited to keep going on them.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Do we want to? Well, I'll do my stuff and then we'll do the other
Yeah.
project that you're working on
Yeah.
because it's a whole other
But I
subject.
actually spent most of my holidays doing.
Okay, great. Which is very impressive, I have to say, when I saw it today. So here we are with the sweater.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you have to do it a couple times. So
Oh, that hurts.
I did. No, actually, I don't really mind. So I actually, so this is a sweater. If you haven't heard the story, bought
This
it
might be starting to sound like in the
yeah.
in the mill on our
Yeah,
farm.
exactly.
This is the
Bought at
sweater.
Costco probably 20 years ago. Super favorite thing, even though it's barely unflammable because it's acrylic and whatever, but I love it. If
It's
I
your
don't,
comfy cozy sweater.
it's a comfy cozy sweater. And like I said, it's the time of the day that I really shouldn't be putting my pajamas on, I put this on. So I wanted it in a different color and with, I'm not going to say nicer fiber
fibers?
but with natural
natural
fibers.
fibers?
Yes,
Yeah.
natural fibers. So I'm just no pattern. I'm just absolutely copying this sweater. And to make life easy on myself, I actually chose yarns that gave me the same kind of gauge. And the yarns that I'm using it's cotton, cashmere, and alpaca classic held together because that gives me the same gauge as that sweater.
Also in the marling.
And the marling, yeah. So it has kind of a tweedy look. So I achieved the tweedy look by using those two colors. So this is, and I'm choosing my own motifs here, and everything was going great. So
I was going to say, Kim, I see a lifeline. Tell us about the lifeline.
So I was talking to Betsy yesterday, and Betsy, how many sweaters have you made just on your own now? No pattern.
I think I've only completed one.
Oh, no, I don't know.
You
had a vest.
I have a vest I'm working on still. I have another one I've started. Yeah, okay.
Then you have, okay. So I was talking to Betsy. I said, I don't understand because I got the motif done. I started doing the raglan decrease. It's going to be a raglan sleeve because the model sweater is raglan. Everything was going fine until I started doing the raglan decreases, and I was like, I did everything. So I just had to count how many rows and everything on the model sweater. Something was going wrong. The raglan, I was going to have way too many stitches left around the neck. And I couldn't figure out why, because the math has been working out perfectly. So I'm just like, I don't understand. It's math. It has to be, there's got to be something wrong, but I can't see what it was. So we dug out the Amy Herzog, The Ultimate Sweater book, which is really a lesson on how to just make a sweater. Yeah, it is a fantastic book. And I opened up to the page that I should have been opening up probably about 3 weeks ago. And I looked at the shape of the raglan decreases, and I was like, oh man.
What's that?
I might have said another word other than oh man. Yeah. So I forgot to do the little bind off stitches that you start the raglan. So under your arm, when you're doing a raglan sleeve and the arm space, you have to bind off stitches on either end, and then you start your gradual decreases. I forgot the bind off stitches.
So I was sharing this story at home at dinner time. We always share whatever went on that day. And I was saying that Kim was disappointed. She's going to have to rip back. And Lucinda had a solution for you.
What?
She said you can just walk around like this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Move your arms.
Yeah. T-Rex. Yeah, T-Rex. So, so then I said to Betsy, I think I'm going to have to take out the whole color work. But actually this morning at 7:00, I was doing... It's not the whole thing.
Nice.
So I just put in a lifeline because I've got 2 colors. I've got 4 strands of yarn. I did the whole thing. So I'm going to just rip back with abandon. And this is how far I have to rip back. This is not really sitting
you have them. Have you actually wound them together?
In this case, I did because Em might have gotten hold of the book.
Ooh,
Em's got good taste in yarn.
Yeah.
This is, there's a good thing here. The Alpaca Classic isn't quite as sticky as if you were with a kid silk. So I'm thinking having to rip back will be a little bit more.
I actually find it...
Oh, it's stickier.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a problem ripping back. There's hair. Vinny's hair is everywhere. So it's the light yarns, when you're trying to pull them off the ball, you have to kind of unwind them a bit. It's kind of hard to, like, the ball is so light, it just comes up. It comes up with you. You can't. So I did this because Em
helped you out.
Yeah, like messed up one of the balls, but it is actually easier to knit with it this way. And so that's just why this one is like that. And so now I have to rip back to this red line. Yeah. Have to do the decreases, and then I'm going to continue on. And I counted this morning, and you were right. You also mentioned that I was counting up the front how many rows I should have left. And Betsy reminded me that you're doing neck decreases as well as raglan decreases.
And there will
at some
probably
point.
Be an initial chunk of neck you bind off to start with as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I better
check that.
Check the reference before I get there.
Yeah. It's not like you don't just start 1 and 1.
Yeah.
It's usually a chunk of, I don't know, 6 or 8 or something.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. And after knitting my Thick and Quick mittens, I had my knitting mojo back, so I was working on it quite a bit. So I was very excited because I was going to say the first podcast that it came, I was going to have this done, and then this is either the front or the back, I don't remember. And I was going to have the second piece done, but no, I'm going to go back. But I learned I won't forget that again. Yeah. And it really goes pretty quick because it's a chunkier yarn that I usually knit with as well.
And
so
those colors, they are so beautiful.
yeah, it's really nice.
And I love the marling.
I do too.
Yeah,
Really
it's a really
nice.
nice fabric. It's very soft. The cotton cashmere.
I haven't given the cotton cashmere a try yet at all.
This is my first project with it as well, and because it feels just like cotton.
Yeah.
But it does when you're knitting with it.
Warm.
You can feel it. Yeah.
So if you pick up cotton glacé, the ball feels cool.
Yeah.
And then if you pick up the cotton cashmere, you think, is it cotton cashmere? Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. But when you pick it up, it actually feels warm in your hand.
But it feels, until you start working with it, it's almost like as you start working with it, the cashmere part kind of comes out, fluffs up. And Alpaca Classic is actually a cotton-based yarn as well.
Yeah.
So the main thread where the little tufts are all in it is actually cotton. So it's
below the alpaca.
So it's cotton, but it doesn't really feel cottony. And wool, obviously. So anyway, so I'm really and I've added this little. I tried to. This is like such a. Everybody does a lot of color work in Fair Isle is going to go, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. But I darkened, put it. I was trying to channel a little bit of Marie Wallen, having never done a Marie Wallen sweater, which is amazing that I have never done.
Maybe this is the year.
Yeah, maybe. So I did that, and I was like, oh, it's amazing how I was like, I'm a real pattern follower. So I was like, oh God, it might not look good. I might have to take it out and everything. And then I was like,
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And this is giving you the opportunity to see the motif knit up and just feel like, yes, I love it.
Yes.
So,
I was worried that there wasn't going to be enough contrast between the light pink and the white, but it seems to be, it looks fine.
Definitely.
Yeah. When you're done.
Anyway, because it's very close to the blue in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's, I mean, it was not rocket science. I'm doing almost exactly the same, except that they do have there's a fourth color in that one, a darker one. Yeah. So anyway, so that's it.
Beautiful.
So, I didn't want to pull it out before the podcast because I wanted to be able to show that
she actually had done it.
Yeah, that I actually
the motif is beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, it's a nice.
I love it.
A nice
it's
one.
Gorgeous one.
Yeah. So that's out of the Selbu pattern book.
Right.
So the Selbu, it's not the mitten one. It's the regular Selbu pattern book, which is basically a stitch dictionary.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And this little X's and triangle or diamond motif as well is out of that book, because they have the little tiny motifs and then they have the big ones as well. So they're both out of the Selbu pattern book. Okay, so that's that. All right, so now Betsy has been doing other crafting.
So I did some cross stitch back way on back.
Yeah.
And then I decided to do this, and so I picked it up. I got some 18 count Naida cloth, I think it is, and chose my colors and picked my little gnome pattern and just went to town. And I guess all I had done was this guy. I had the gnome done, and then I started the background this holiday and got all of that done. So the background part I just made up myself, because there's a lot of crossover between a color work knit.
You're following a chart.
And a cross stitch.
Yeah.
Art.
So this is the background was not part of it. Yeah. So this is part of a whole collection.
Yes, a whole collection. It has 12 months, and it's Soda Stitch Design. Okay. Is her cross stitch. I found the patterns on Etsy. Yeah. So you can go get them there. Okay. And they're really cute. I think she has like 12 male gnomes, and then she also has I saw now added since then 12 female gnomes, all the different months. And then I believe the flowers actually match the official like flower of that month.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Because we were looking at it earlier,
Yes.
and mine is March, and it's a daffodil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
which
Cool. I have no
I
idea.
might have
what
switched
my
some of
flower
them
is.
up, but
Yeah.
yeah.
What's July? I don't
I
know.
don't. We can look. We'll look
I have-
after.
yeah.
We'll find out. Yeah. So I'm loving it. It's great. I made a bit of a beginner mistake because I wasn't following the pattern super closely, and I just got started. I am knitting, or I'm cross stitching this with a full 6 strands.
Okay.
She didn't divide the
I
DMC.
didn't divide the DMC, which is giving me a very full coverage.
Yeah.
But let me say, for my, we'll call it a checkbook for the fun of it, for my checkbook, that would not be a sustainable way to go with cross stitch. Because I am using so much floss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've paused because I've had to order more. So I've decided I'm just going to finish this project that way. And then I will go forward with a much more educated intent. And I will probably work with 2 strands
Yes.
over
Which
each.
is, yes.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about this yesterday, you said about some people are even cross stitching with 1 strand. We talked about the
One
like
strand.
anal cross stitchers. And
Do we bring it out?
I give out a confession.
I said, yes, you use the 1 strand to do shading. So I said,
Check this out.
You have to
She's
tilt it
been
forward so
hiding
there's
her
no glare.
talents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
We might have to photograph it.
I
We'll
think
see.
we will.
yeah.
Anyway, put it
So
up.
how many of these do you have around your house, Kim?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I don't
So
know if we have
incredible.
glare on it or not, but anyway,
I see those
so
little one.
yeah.
Or we're
thread.
too
So-
low. We might even be too low.
Yeah, okay.
We'll take
so,
a photo.
Yeah. And then, so this is where the shade, we were talking
Yeah.
about the shading. You see there, it's all one thread instead of 2 crossed.
I have my next pattern chosen and ordered,
Yeah.
and this is so inspiring. I am
Sparkle in
super
it.
Yes,
excited.
there's sparkle.
Oh my
So the
goodness.
windows have gold thread.
In them.
And then,
Oh, so
yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So-
So I am super excited to like actually do this right.
Yeah. So this is called the Village Skaters, the
Okay.
pattern, and it was from I forget what the company name was, but it's not by today's standards. It's pretty basic, the patterns. And I see there's a little bit of plaster dust on the top of it, so that's
Okay, I'll stop.
yeah. Anyway, so it's an old I think I started cross stitching like in 1986 or something like
Okay.
that. So was what they were doing now.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
now.
So I've been watching Floss Tube, and there was a lady sharing patterns that she was calling vintage patterns
Yeah.
from 1994.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
But cross stitching, because I also started watching some floss tubes back a couple of months ago, and cross stitching now has gotten as crazy as crazy can get.
Yeah,
Like
and
it's
just you are like just like us knitters. You
Yeah.
got your hand dyed everything, and you're oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, so I think this is on linen. I think this was the first one that I did on a what did you call it?
I have ordered what they call even weave.
Yes,
So
even
my
weave, yeah.
understanding is linen is a little bit more natural and rustic, and not all of the strands. You'll get those
Yep.
little bumps.
Yeah.
The even weave, I think, has more of a cotton content, or so. I just have started learning, so
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if I'm
So
getting this all wrong.
and I have no idea.
Okay.
All I know was I started on Ada.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then-
that's me too.
Then I went to it's not a linen color. It's like I think the natural linen
Okay.
has kind of a variegated color because it's not natural. It's not been
Natural, yeah.
bleached and stuff like that. So I started, I've done like on a lot of them, but at that time they weren't like doing, now that you have like, dyed to look like vintage for samplers, and they're soaking them in tea,
or
and
even
they're
some
like,
that, like, if you're doing a snowy picture like this,
Yeah.
they actually dye the fabric so it has some dyed snowflake type look, like
yeah.
little circles that look like falling snow.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
as
yeah,
you
it's
stitch
crazy.
around it, anyway,
Yeah.
they're
And then-
so gorgeous.
Yeah, and hand dyed skeins of the thread, and the whole thing is like, it was like, so I started I was thinking about, well, you know, like, should I get in? And now I was just like, oh my goodness, okay, this has gone to a whole other level. There was none of that when I started cross stitching. And so, and the projects that they do,
they're just amazing.
you think knitters have whips?
Oh, the number of projects. Yeah. Yes. Yes. You are very ambitious starters.
Yes. And then I was watching, and they have they have books, schedule books of how many minutes they're going to spend on.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
And they can tell you the percentage of completed stitches and the number of stitches that one lady was sharing. So this holiday I put in 1,235, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm way too laissez-faire for that.
I am knitting a gnome with a flower. I don't think I have to worry, or cross stitching a gnome with a flower. I don't think I have to worry about counting my stitches.
No.
I'm going for the whimsical.
How many stitches over time? That's it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going for whimsical, fun.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But not 6 strands of floss.
But
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
How do you not get all like weird eyes from staring at those little tiny holes? Because I have a project that's been ongoing for a few years, and I can only do it for like.
Are you working from a paper pattern?
Yes.
See, this is a whole new world too. There's all kinds of apps now that you download your pattern into
I
a
didn't
digital
know
app,
that. Oh, okay.
and like you can blow it up, and you can literally keep track of every stitch you've done, and you can get the app to read. I was watching a video on this the other day. The app you can set it up so that, okay, you just want to see the stitches for this color, and it'll wipe out everything else and just pull those forward. So it's, again, a whole new world.
Because when I was doing it, this is how you did it, is that you folded your fabric into 4 squares, found the center, and you found the center of your pattern, and you put your first stitch there, and then you worked outwards.
And you did. You checked and you rechecked and you rechecked.
And that's still the way I would do it.
Yeah.
So I actually have the last project that I worked on is not finished, and it's like true to me because there was a problem. It was almost a square, but not quite, and I got the wrong orientation when I put it on, so that there's not quite enough fabric on the edge that for when I frame it. But now they've got solutions for that as well. You just sew on the fabric, extra fabric, and as long as you're out of the frame, like, and you put your mat around and everything. And then some of the framing that they do is like, it's
that's
all
a whole other world.
Yes, and some of the this already back in the ancient times, the framing was already pretty expensive because of the mats and stuff like that. But now they're like, it's even more. They're works of art. Really they are. So
when considering how much time and love and attention you put into them, I agree. Put it up.
They're
Don't
heirloom.
have it sitting in a closet. Put it up.
Yeah. So,
and I was also looking at some videos. There's also some, like, you can take it to, I don't know, say a Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, and get it framed.
Yeah.
Or there's other creative ideas of how people are framing it. And the neatest ones I saw is, especially if you're doing something that's like a Christmas or like a seasonal piece, they'll have frames that you can switch out. What you put in depending on the season. So you don't have to have an individual frame for each one.
Right.
You have your frame, and then depending on the season, you switch in your cross stitch.
That makes sense because I have some that are Christmas ones.
Yes.
But you don't want to leave them up all year round. And then our friend Joanne does also cross stitch, but she's cross stitches with silk.
I know.
And she gifted me this beautiful candle. And because this is just the way she is, you don't dare say you like anything because then you'll end up with it, which is not your intention of complimenting on her meticulous work. She's very generous. But it's I saw it in her house and I was like, what? I know it's cross stitch, or stitching, but how it just glowed. And she goes, oh, well, because it's silk. And I said, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
Oh, I love it though. I just.
And my mom did it as well. So some, to be honest, some of the ones that I have in the house are the ones that my mom did and gifted to me. So, there's, there's a few of those around as well. So, but she can't do it anymore, to your point, because when she actually could do it now because she had got a small cat. Did she have a cataract? Yes. No, I don't remember. Anyway, I think she had a cataract repaired, I think. And then she's got 20/20 vision in that eye now.
She's
so
like a whiz on her iPad. So
Yeah.
you can give her one of those apps and she might be back at it.
yeah, exactly. Because she did
I
some really beautiful ones too.
The fabric is still the size of the fabric, but
I
the reading pattern part would be.
I'm not sure if I think she was still using Ada cloth because that's a little bit easier because the holes are a little bit more distinct. But she was using a kind of a fine gauge because I think you can get Ada down to like a small thread count
that
too.
was the other thing I was learning about why you would use different ones. The thread count for Ada does not go as high, which would be smaller than as linen.
Exactly.
And even
use more pixels if you want. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's a great hobby too. So and the floss tubers are like and I what's the one? There's two women from the States. I think it's Stitchers of the World or something like that, or Cross Stitch of the World. The two of them, they did this whole session on the most expensive the most expensive cross stitch patterns.
Okay.
That's nuts as well. I can tell you. So some of the ones, the vintage ones that were, there's a brand, I think it's called Mirabella or something like that. They have these fairies that are like limited editions and they're spending like hundreds of dollars on getting the pattern.
To get the pattern.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Because you got me into floss too.
Oh.
And I don't even really do it all that much, but I can't help myself. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I could watch it for hours. I just can't do it for hours.
So all these points of exclamation are because we're actually like completely impressed and blown away.
Exactly.
The time they're putting in.
Yes, and being the elder statesman here, then I can tell you, back when I was doing stitching, all we had was like.
Well, it's like whenever I was younger, the Mary Maxim catalogs used to come.
Yeah.
And I would sit there and just pour over the cross stitch section because there's so many fun little projects.
Yeah.
Well, and then what blew my mind, buy the kit so that your threads are all kitted up.
Yeah.
But put it on linen. Nobody said you have to use the Ada that's in the kit. And I was like, no way.
Are we rule followers?
I know. It's funny how sometimes like some of your things aren't all that transferable. So I'll do all kinds of like my own thing. And I'm like, rules in knitting? No way, I do what I want.
Yeah.
But then like I move to one. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm having great fun exploring some other crafting as well.
Great. That's why now we might have to call it a woolen thread.
I make no promises that I'll actually accomplish enough to show.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else?
I think that's it.
No, we said what we're wearing.
Yep.
Simone, Kim, Betsy.
Yeah.
A little late to be introducing ourselves. But better late than never.
We're not so bad at that. Anyway, so I think that's it. So I hope you have a happy new year, and now you're into the year, and let's hear for a great 2025. And now we've come to the harmony part, so we're just going to wind down a little bit with literally watching snowflakes.
We're going to watch snowfall
in the country. Yes, exactly. And hopefully I found some nice, beautiful, peaceful music to go behind it. So we just, as always, we wish you joy with whatever crafting that you're doing, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.